News update with Michelle Peterson on Burning Channel 909. US election countdown. 2 days left polls, candidates, and campaign efforts. With only 2 days until the US presidential election, candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are locked in a tight race across key swing states. As of Saturday, over 73 million Americans have already voted, according to the University of Florida's election lab. Candidates focus on key states in the final stretch of the campaign. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump intensified their focus on critical swing states, understanding that a few battleground regions will likely decide the election's outcome. On Saturday, both candidates concentrated their efforts in North Carolina, a state with significant electoral importance, marking the 4th day in a row that they have campaigned in the same state on the same day. This overlap underscores the importance of winning over voters in these highly contested areas. Kamala Harris held a lively rally in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she sought to energize her supporters with a high-profile event featuring rock star Jon Bon Jovi and R&B singer-songwriter Kamala. The rally brought out young voters and older supporters alike, a crowd reflective of Bon Jovi's and Kamala's presence highlighted Harris's appeal to a mix of demographics, especially aiming to connect with both older rock fans and younger R&B enthusiasts. Harris then capped off her day with a surprise appearance on Saturday Night Live in New York City, where she joined Maya Rudolph, who famously portrays her on the show. This appearance added a lighter, more personable touch to her campaign, connecting her with a broad national audience. Meanwhile, Donald Trump also packed his Saturday with multiple campaign events. He started with a stop in Virginia, a typically blue-leaning state, where he aimed to sway any undecided voters. From there, he headed back into the North Carolina swing with rallies in Gastonia and Greensboro. Trump's events were characterized by his usual high-energy speeches, focusing on his achievements and a strong emphasis on conservative values, which he believes resonate deeply with North Carolinian voters. Latest polls reveal a close race. As the election approaches, polls indicate an exceptionally tight contest between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, with only a narrow margin separating the two candidates. Five38's latest tracking poll places Harris in a slight national lead by just 1 percentage point, with both candidates falling short of the 50% mark, signaling an evenly divided electorate. This slim national lead, however, falls within the margin of error, making it difficult to predict a clear frontrunner. In critical blue wall states such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, regions that traditionally lean Democratic but have seen shifts in recent years, Trump is ahead by a fraction of a point in Pennsylvania, while Harris holds a razor-thin 1-point lead in Michigan and Wisconsin. The outcomes in these states are especially pivotal. These 3 alone could make or break a candidate's path to victory. Trump's focus on Pennsylvania, coupled with Harris's push in Michigan and Wisconsin, underscores the strategic importance each candidate places on these states. The race remains just as close in other battleground states. Trump has managed to establish slight leads in Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. Each of these states represents significant electoral votes, and their populations reflect diverse voter priorities, from immigration concerns in Arizona to economic and healthcare issues in Nevada and North Carolina. Trump's narrow edge in these areas reflects his appeal to conservative and rural voters, but Harris's campaign is actively working to sway undecided and independent voters in these regions to close the gap. In a surprising twist, recent polling out of Iowa, a state Trump previously won by comfortable margins in 2016 and 2020, reveals a potential shift. A poll conducted by the Des Moines Register and Mediacom shows Harris with a 3-point lead over Trump, standing at 47% to his 44%. This shift in Iowa is significant for several reasons. Harris appears to be gaining traction among women and independent voters, 2 demographics that can be unpredictable yet powerful in swing states. Additionally, only 89% of Republicans in Iowa currently support Trump, a notable decrease that raises concerns for his campaign about securing a solid base in a state he once dominated. Harris's gains among independents and older women, particularly those not strongly aligned with either political party, reflect her campaign's efforts to build a broad coalition. This shift in Iowa could indicate broader trends in the Midwest, where concerns about healthcare, the economy, and social issues are top of mind. For Trump, these polls highlight the challenge of maintaining a unified base, especially in states where he has traditionally counted on Republican loyalty. With these tight polling numbers, the outcome in each of these battlegrounds remains unpredictable, and both campaigns are doubling down on their efforts to sway any remaining undecided voters. Harris appeals to young voters while campaigning in Charlotte. Harris appealed to younger voters, a demographic that typically leans Democratic. I see the promise of America every day in young leaders voting for the first time, she said, emphasizing issues like climate action and reducing gun violence. Harris continued her critique of Trump, arguing that he prioritizes personal interests over a clear vision for the country's future. She told the crowd that if elected, Trump would likely focus on stewing over his enemies list, while her own presidency would begin with tackling pressing issues on behalf of the public. When pro-Palestinian demonstrators interrupted her speech, Harris repeated her stance on the Middle East. We all want that war to end. We want the hostages home. And as president, I'll do everything in my power to make it happen. Later in Atlanta, she characterized Trump as unstable and seeking unchecked power. Harris wrapped up her evening with an appearance on Saturday Night Live, sharing a lighthearted moment with Maya Rudolph, who portrays her on the show. Trump stirs up support with nationalist messages. Trump, meanwhile, rallied in Virginia before continuing his campaign across North Carolina, which he will focus on until Election Day. During a Greensboro rally, he credited himself for Americans' declining trust in the media, asserting that he exposed the press as fake. He then pivoted to immigration, reiterating his promise to prioritize American citizens in communities, a staple of his America First platform. Addressing immigration concerns with non-white communities in mind, Trump claimed that unchecked immigration could undermine the political power of Black Americans and predicted that migrant communities could dominate. Trump went on to make controversial statements about Congolese migrants, although no evidence supports his claims of foreign governments sending jailed individuals to the U.S. With the polls showing a close race and candidates making their final pushes, the outcome may rest on voter turnout in these swing states. As the countdown continues, Americans will soon decide who will lead the country for the next 4 years. That's it for tonight's countdown coverage. With only 2 days left until the nation decides, every moment counts and every voice matters. Stay tuned with Burning News 909 Live as we bring you the latest updates leading up to this pivotal election. From all of us here, thank you for joining us. I'm Michelle Peterson. Good night, and stay informed as we approach this historic day.